Hello everybody, and welcome back to the second part of the Bikini Bottom murders. In today's video, we're going to be speaking about some very true and gory and horrific, terrible crimes that went on during the mid-2000s in the area of Bikini Bottom. I warn you now that in this video, we are going to be discussing the most horrific and brutal murders that you have ever heard in your entire life. So please prepare yourself, because this all begins in the streets of Bikini Bottom, where mass murderer Patrick Starr approached his latest victim's house. He picked the lock. Click, click, click. He was in, and he knew just what to do. He gradually moved towards the stairs, silently but quickly, the stairs creaking as he walked up one at a time until he reached the landing. And the landing made the slightest of creaks, kind of like that. And then he moved towards the door of where his victim lay asleep, silently, not knowing what was about to happen. He silently and gracefully opened the door and reached for his pocket where his butcher's knife laid. He saw the victim, a 7-year-old SpongeBob SquarePants, and he said to himself, I have finally found you." And he went towards the bed where the victim lay, the 7-year-old victim who knew nothing of what was about to happen. And then he pulled the knife out, and then he went towards him, and he... By the way guys, this video is sponsored by generic betting company 4221. If you want to bet on the latest murder that could possibly happen in your area, please don't forget to use my affiliate code. Hashtag I'm a sellout and don't actually care about anything that I speak about on this channel, but I know that you will watch it and I'll make lots of money. Please use my code and you can bet on anything you want. Child murder, adult murder, anything. We love it all the same, and you can get some money off by using my code. Thank you very much, and let's get back into the mass murder. True crime, one of the biggest genres of entertainment on social media right now. Because there's nothing quite like sitting down at the end of the day with a nice warm cup of tea and having some bloke with an expensive microphone explain to you how some bloke in the 1980s was brutally murdered. Now, the actual definition of true crime is a non-fiction literary podcast and film genre in which the author examines an actual crime and details the actions of real people associated with affected by criminal events. And I can absolutely guarantee that 99.9% of you guys watching this right now have most definitely engaged in some form of true crime related content. And I know for a fact that most of you watching this right now definitely don't have an actual sane sleeping pattern, or just don't have a sleeping pattern in general. I know for a fact that a lot of you have been up at 3 AM and you've clicked onto YouTube and you've seen that one true crime video which is constantly in your recommended, and you thought, you know what? I'm just going to watch it. Or on Netflix, you've clicked on it and there's that one documentary which just keeps on coming up, and you just think, you know what? It's 3 AM, I'm extremely mentally ill, I'm gonna watch it. But even watching this video right now, you could possibly look to the right hand of your recommended section if you're on your computer, or just scroll to the recommended section on your iPhone or whatever device you are using, and you will most likely see some true crime videos recommended to you, because these channels, these videos are absolutely everywhere, documenting very serious and disgusting crimes committed in recent history and past history, just in general, crimes that have been committed over any point of human history. And you may be wondering, do I hate the genre? Do I hate true crime? No, I actually don't. I'm a big consumer of true crime content. I love sitting down with a nice bit of buttered toast in the morning and listening to how somebody was brutally murdered. Nice. Okay, that might have sounded a little bit sarcastic, but I am being genuine when I say I am a big fan of true crime content, and I think I'm not the only one watching this right now, the only one here right now that is a fan of true crime. If you have watched true crime yourself, please go down in the comment section and just comment beans. Let me know, because I'm pretty sure most of the people watching this probably do like the genre. And in 2019 alone, a Mashable article actually stated that true crime videos on YouTube were viewed 2 billion times, and that is absolutely
insane.
But what this does show is that this is an extremely profitable business venture. This is somewhere where a lot of people can make a lot of money. For a lot of people out there who just are sitting around and own some expensive microphones, they may think, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go earn some money by speaking about somebody brutally murdered. And with that, there obviously comes the issue of exploitation in true crime. Meanwhile, at your local YouTuber business school. But, we're going to move on and we're going to speak up the next way to make money. And this is a very popular business venture going on at the moment. And apparently, it's to do with crime. Now, I've actually come up with my little diagram talking about this. So, it starts off, ladies and gentlemen, with the murdered family. Of course, this is not a good thing when I've gone Australian now. And apparently, when somebody gets murdered, I don't know what's going on right now. When somebody gets murdered, apparently, it's not a good thing. But to make it a good thing, obviously, you add a little microphone to it. And then, if you want to go a step further, not everybody does this, but some can, add a little bit of a production value, you go to a green screen. You can get a green screen and a microphone, and automatically, that murdered family becomes profit. It becomes profit, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe my original accent might come back. I mean, yeah, it sounds good, and then obviously to make it good for the family, we obviously compensate for the victims, right? Have you been speaking to those bloody lefties again? But, I'm just thinking because we're speaking about, their family relative who was murdered and speaking about the horrific events of it, probably we should do something to, at least benefit them and make them feel better. What do you mean feel better? They're going to feature on my YouTube channel. That's all I can bloody offer. They should be grateful. They should be grateful that their son's dead and now they're on a YouTube channel. It's a service. It's a public service, and they should be grateful.
Basically, there are a lot of soulless, exploitative people out there that are willing to take advantage of families that have gone through extremely traumatic events where they've had a family member, a beloved member of their family, taken away from them, and they are willing to exploit that for profit. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of stuff about this already. Multiple videos have been made about true crime, shout out to Pinely, documenting people like Stephanie Sue, who make mukbang videos whilst talking about brutal murders of innocent people while shoving Big Macs down their mouth. This is something which is a big popular topic at the moment with a lot of people covering, and I understand why, because these channels are obviously mental.
But my friends, the genre of true crime that you personally have come to know of, where it's somebody sat in front of a camera, I guess telling the story from start to finish, whether respectfully or disrespectfully, that's not the only genre of true crime that exists, because in this video, I actually want to explore some of the subgenres that I've discovered, some of the genres which take very real true crime cases and just twist them in a disturbing way. But I do just have to be extremely annoying here, and I completely understand this is very irritating, but please, for the love of God, could you just hit subscribe, because a lot of you genuinely aren't, and I know you hear that all the time, and I know you think it's bollocks, but it's actually not. So please, be a lovely fella, and just click subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It's free content at the end of the day. Please help me out, and if you want to be an absolute hero, please subscribe, please comment, and please like. Thank you very much. Sorry for being annoying. Let's continue.
The thing is, I was originally going to make this video of where I just clown on these mukbang true crime channels, but actually I went down a deep, dark path and discovered these YouTube channels out there where they seemingly do spirit box sessions to contact the deceased, to contact people who have most likely been murdered, people who have had their own very popular cases publicized to the world, and they will use their names as an attempt to get views by pretending to contact them. And the one I'm actually going to give example of involves Gabby Petito, who was an innocent human being sadly taken away from us by an absolutely despicable person in just such a tragic and horrible story. But this person takes that and just completely makes a mockery out of it.
What happened to you, Gabby?
I'm not saying you can't believe in spirituality, and I'm not saying you can't even believe that we can contact the dead. If you believe that, that's completely fine and valid in my opinion. But with this, I'm not criticizing that. I'm criticizing the fact that I think it's incredibly distasteful and disrespectful to the family of Gabby and Gabby's memory in general by doing things like this. Personally, I think the video is quite obviously fake. And even if it was real, like for some bizarre way, this man had actually finally broken science and contacted the dead, I would still say you shouldn't put this sort of stuff on the internet because it's incredibly disrespectful and you are not attached to that family in any way whatsoever. They didn't request this, it's just you being exploitative to get money.
And I went through this person's entire channel, and it is basically just every single video is them trying to contact dead celebrities. And I'm not just saying you can't be spiritual or believe in this stuff, but I think it's very clear for the most part of what's going on here. Somebody is exploiting these dead celebrities in an attempt to make some moolah.
Hello, I like money.
And I don't know the person who runs the channel, and I don't really care to reach out for them and ask them questions. When I see something like this, I think it's pretty obvious what's going on here. It's pretty obvious what the operation is, and it's just sad that this gets views, and it's sad that people genuinely believe that this dude is actually seemingly doing what he is doing. And there are other examples of this over YouTube that I do want to go through today, but in general, what I want to discuss today in this video is the ethics of true crime. Do I think this genre should be allowed? Do I think this genre should be banned from YouTube? Because YouTube in the past have seemingly clamped down on true crime, and I just want to go through the entire thing and discuss that should we actually be supporting this genre and should we be enabling it? And if so, should we be setting rules and boundaries when it comes to the content creation surrounding true crime?
Because obviously this is an absolutely loved genre. I understand a lot of people are going to come to this video and say, you know what, I don't like that you're saying this about my favorite YouTubers. And trust me, if you like a content creator who is respectful when speaking about true crime, I personally really don't have an issue with it, but that's why we need to start setting rules and boundaries when it comes to speaking about incidents of true crime.
Number 1, research. Obviously, if you're investigating and explaining real criminal cases, you need to get every single piece of information correct. I don't really think I need to explain why. I think it's just extremely obvious.
But I think the next one is probably the most obvious one and the one I will keep saying throughout this entire video, and it's obviously show some respect. Just show a little ounce of respect to the family of the victims you're speaking about, the victims in general, because you are profiteering off that. You are making money and you are making that story known to the world. And if you are going to do that, you should show a little bit of respect, a little bit of compassion just to these families so they know that yes, people aren't going to have this warped perspective of somebody that they've tragically lost.
I personally think it's fine to discuss these cases as long as you are getting the information right and as long as you are publicizing this information in a respectful manner. Because if you're getting all the facts right but you're shoving burgers down your throat, obviously that's incredibly disrespectful, and a family is going to see that and think, wow, my child is being exploited by somebody speaking about their case for money on a sponsored video where they're shoving a load of food down their mouth. It's like, how can you do that without realizing that's obviously extremely messed up? And I think if you do disagree with everything I just said, you're probably a little bit, what's the word? Insane. I mean, imagine you lose a family member in like a horrific manner, even your entire family, and then 6 years later you discover that there's some YouTube video out there of where two people are sat on a podcast spilling the tea, acting like it's a drama video, or I don't know, they're shoving a Big Mac down their throat. I keep saying Big Mac, I don't know why, maybe I want one, but they're shoving a Big Mac down their throat whilst they speak about this in just an incredibly disrespectful manner. Or even worse, you'll get some random bloke pretending to contact your own family member through their shitty Bluetooth speaker that they got from Argos. I mean, if I saw that, I'd probably be a little bit pissed off.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie, and today we are back with another mukbang. Woo! So I'm excited for today's video because is this not giving downtown LA vibes? Listen, is this not giving 30 floors in the air, just super pollution right behind me in front of a white couch that has been through some shit? it? Well, I tell you now, the stakes are even higher because this is a new couch and everything here is not the color blue. Today, we've got a bunch of Hot Pockets covered in hot Cheetos, which I love Hot Pockets, I love hot Cheetos, so why not combine them? I air fried them to perfection. Look at how crisp they look.
Now, if I told you right now that this video that I just played to you was actually the introduction to a video of where they speak about how somebody brutally murdered their girlfriend because their girlfriend merely said the name of their ex-boyfriend, would you just think, oh, well, that introduction's a little bit weird with that context added? And that's exactly what this video is. And honestly, Stephanie Sue has been spoken about quite a lot, but there is so much more you could say. There are so many mental things with Stephanie Sue's channel, which I just cannot believe actually is publicized on the internet. Like, seriously.
They eat, and after about 30 minutes, they go to Fidel's mom's place, which is about 30 minutes away. So they drive all the way to Fidel's mom's place. Like, this is why I think Maria is such a good person, because she honestly doesn't need to do that, but she's just really all about Fidel. Like, she works hard, she feeds him, she sometimes babysits his kids, she even goes to visit his parents. Like, she's one of those people. Now, Fidel's mom claims that everything was happy between the two. They were just so in love. What's your favorite thing?
The mango.
The mango?
So good. I feel like the mango itself is perfect. It's not too ripe, it's not too underripe.
Is this not like so bizarre and so obviously disrespectful? But the worst thing is like people are not only fans of this content, but at the same time, they get mad at people for calling out the content saying it's bad. They're like, oh no, you're just a hater. And my friend Pinely, who made a video about true crime, actually got called extremely misogynistic for his video. And I'm just confused to why. This has nothing to do with you being a woman. This is to do with you making obviously disrespectful videos about people that have been brutally murdered. That's what it's to do with. I don't give a shit if you're a woman or a man making these videos. If you're making these videos in this style, I just think you're a bellend. And it's even worse when you see that the video is sponsored and has mid-rolls. It's like, if you're gonna make money off this thing, at least be aware that you should probably have a little bit of respect. Now, obviously, this is your job, and obviously you've got to get paid because you need to live and pay for the bills and pay for your rent, and that's fine, that's understandable. But if you're going to make that money to live off speaking about horrific cases like you're speaking about, at least acknowledge the fact that these are real victims you're speaking about. Maybe don't stuff food down your mouth whilst you speak about these victims.
I genuinely don't believe that true crime as a genre should be shut down and completely cancelled and removed from the internet. No, obviously I don't, because I consume that content, and if I were to say that, I would be extremely hypocritical. But at the same time, I do believe that there is a significant rise in channels that clearly don't give a shit about what they are speaking about, and it shows in the content of where they get things wrong. They're incredibly disrespectful, they're eating during speaking about horrific murders, and I just think that's worrying, especially for the families of these victims who not only have had to go through this, but now they're seeing their deceased family member who was tragically taken from them get basically mocked on the internet by these weird, terrible true crime channels.
Murder Masterpiece with Michelle, episode 5, and one of them in the thumbnail is then like pulling a little funny face while she eats a banana, and I guess the other one is doing a little quirky pose. And you may be wondering, what is this video for? What is this quirky video where the woman is comedically eating a banana next to her friend who's pulling the quirky face? What's this video for? Oh yeah, the video is documenting a brutal child murder. I'm not even joking. What is going on, guys? This is an actual problem. And what's even weirder is they've described the murder of an innocent child as a masterpiece. And it's like, guys, how did you write this and make this and think, you know what? This is a good idea. Like, this is like comedically terrible. It's like you've gone out of your way to be like, how could we possibly make the worst thumbnail and title? But it's no different for other channels like Stephanie Sue. Teens killed their friend and vlogged it. They wanted to be the next Ted Bundy. And then just next to it, it says, King Crab Mukbang. And in the thumbnail, she's just like, it's like, Stephanie, you're speaking about people that have been murdered. What is going on? Was her murder recorded? Case of UNC student Faith Hedgepeth. Korean street food mukbang. Let's get the food in the thumbnail. I love food. Why are you doing this? Why? Why does this have 600,000 views? The Vanishing Millbrook Twins. Kidnapped by serial killer? Feta cheese pasta gourmet. I love me some ribs and some feta cheese pasta. I hate this world so much. Like, so much. And the further you go through these thumbnails and titles, the further you just want to throw your guts up. And to the people that get mad at me, can I have some justification? Like, even if you agree with the content in the video, okay. But surely the thumbnails and titles, you can agree, are like so unbelievably terrible.
And again, I have to clarify, I'm not against this genre. I genuinely think true crime can be a very interesting thing, and I have the channels out there that I personally love to watch quite regularly. And I also like to watch Netflix documentaries because companies like Netflix, Amazon, these companies all participate in true crime as well. It's not just an influencer thing. And if you see a documentary being extremely disrespectful, you have the right to call that out, just like you would call out an influencer. There are some films out there where they seemingly glorify murderers like Ted Bundy, and it really does rub me the wrong way. And I can't help but see that and think that's extremely disrespectful and another example of exploitation in true crime, of where businessmen see a very popular business venture and think, how can we exploit that? How can we make a lot of money off that? And then they go and make their fucking weird movies or shows. And I don't care if you think it's well shot. I don't care if you think the cutting and the editing is good. I don't care. It shouldn't be made. It's weird, especially if it's in an extremely disrespectful way of where it clearly glorifies the murderer.
But now we're halfway through the video and you may be wondering, despite all of my criticisms, there's obviously a major audience for this style of content. Like, why as human beings are we so fascinated by hearing the true crime incidents, such as brutal murders, horrific things that have truly happened? Why do we care so much about it? Because despite my criticisms of the genre, it's clear even the videos that I disagree with get hundreds of thousands of views and it gets a lot of attention. And the question is well, why? Well, I think the main two reasons come down to sheer curiosity and adrenaline. As human beings, we are very curious creatures. We love to hear truly mad stories, and even ones which are so unbelievable without any evidence whatsoever. Over generations, we will continue to speak about these stories and make them seem true. Even with some like fun things like the Loch Ness Monster, some people genuinely do believe that that exists despite there really being no evidence. And with true crime, I think people are curious about it because it's such a wild thing. Like, there are so many horrible, brutal murders in the world, and the thing is this is different from legend. These things are true, and because we don't see these crazy events despite how terrible they are during our day-to-day lives, we become fascinated by that and want to kind of look into it and see how crazy the world can truly get. I found a really good quote from an author called Janice Holly Booth, which said this: "We all possess a dark side, although I would say most of us are smudgy grey as opposed to inky black, and maybe that's why so many of us are obsessed with the sinister doings of others. Perhaps craven crimes speak to those savage, primal urges we've become so good at repressing. But I think our fascination with true crime stories might also represent a curiosity about the calamities that can befall the mind. How can your next door neighbour go calmly about his daily business when he has a girl chained in his basement? What horrors did he endure as a child that has led his mind to race down an entirely different track than yours?" For me at least, the fascination is not as much about what these broken people do as it is to why they do it. Deconstructing that mystery and getting to the very dark heart of their deeds is what keeps me hopelessly captivated by true crime stories. And I think this is a really good point to why we're also fascinated at listening to these horrible things, because yes, we all don't want to go out and do these terrible deeds, but you know for a fact that you do walk past serial killers in your lifetime who are living day-to-day normal lives just like you, except that they have committed a horrible crime. And as a regular human being, you kind of want to know know, how does somebody get to that point? Why did they get to that point, and why did they do it, given that it's such a horrible and horrific thing? And naturally it pulls us to the content of where people are explaining it and going through it and explaining why and what happened in these scenarios. And I also think it comes down to the fact that we get to, I guess, witness true crime in controlled environments. Like, it's not like we're actually witnessing these crimes happen, we're just having reconstructions or people tell us about what actually happened, and if we get uncomfortable, we can just turn the video off. It's a controlled environment, and that's why I think it's, I guess, so engrossing, because you don't have to watch it, but you do have the opportunity to turn it on and turn it off. Whereas obviously nobody wants to be murdered, but you always are a little bit fascinated by the fact that there are murderers in this world.
Basically, we're all extremely mentally unhinged, and we probably should just turn off our TVs and laptops, because, to be honest with you, as much as I do enjoy this genre, there is a little bit of a weird element to, even with horror films, of like, guys, why do we watch these things? Like, I know I've just explained all of the reasons, but it doesn't make it any less weird that the human brain is naturally so curious about such horrific things. Like, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but at the same time, it can't be really good for our brains.
Scott Bond, a professor of sociology and criminology, explained that while the actions of a serial killer may be horrible to behold, many people simply can't look away due to the thrill of the spectacle. Serial killers allow us to experience fear and horror in a controlled environment where the threat is exciting but not real. And obviously the crime has happened and it was a real thing, but when we watch it, it's on a video. We can turn it off, and it comes down to that controlled environment feeling. But the thing is with true crime media is, over the last few years, as I said previously, it's just become absolutely massive. As I presented earlier, there were some statistics showing that in 2019, over 2 billion views on YouTube were to do with true crime. It very much seems that true crime is this ever-growing genre of content on the internet, and that means that these videos are always going to garner views, and with views, that means more money. I even found a channel out there with 1,000 subscribers, yet it had a video on it with 2,000 views where the person tries to contact Gabby Petito, and it is just genuinely so unbelievably vile.
My guide to the people around me, and the people around Gabby, people that know what happened to Gabby Petito or know Gabby on the other side, I really need you to come forward. I'm calling out to you. I'm trying to gather as much information as possible, and it seems to be all over at the moment. Was Gabby murdered? Was Gabby murdered? What happened to Gabby? What happened to Gabby? Who caused Gabby's disappearance? Who caused Gabby's disappearance?
What makes me particularly disgusted about this whole thing is that this case isn't an old case, and that wouldn't justify it, but even so, this is a very new thing that happened only so recently, and he's taken that and is just using it in this disgusting manner, which is just absolutely vile. But this is a subgenre of true crime on YouTube, and that is just so unbelievably insane. The entire channel is basically this person trying to contact dead people, and I know this style of content has existed before YouTube, but that doesn't mean I necessarily need to agree with it. I have always believed that there are a lot of psychic mediums out there that are extremely exploitative. I don't think that you need to not believe in this thing. I have no problem with you if you do think these psychic mediums in general are doing some real things, but ultimately when it comes to making money and profit off it, I'm naturally going to think that people are being exploited here, particularly the families of victims in true crime. But given the fact that true crime is gradually becoming a much bigger and more profitable venture on the internet, it means that more channels are going to be making these styles of content, which means more channels are going to be there to recommend you to other true crime channels, which means channels like this, these terrible, awful channels which put a bad name on true crime, are going to be recommended in actual good channels channel's recommended sections. Whether they like it or not, the YouTube algorithm will reward these channels because they are making these videos where they're getting the right SEO in, which kind of makes YouTube think that these channels should be linked to actual good true crime channels, and people will click on it and they will make money off it, whether the person who is viewing the content agrees with it or disagrees with it. I actually found a channel who's garnered hundreds of thousands of subs by doing this, to the extent of where I don't even believe they regularly show their face, and it's quite obviously using fake voices in order to represent celebrities that have sadly passed away. And it's just insane to me that this is a massive channel which has so many views.
You can see the light? Do you remember those last days, Betty? I'm so sorry to hear that you had to go through all of that, Betty. Is everything okay now? Are you still in pain on the other side?
It's genuinely fucking baffling to me about how insane this shit is. But it gets even worse when you look at the comment section and people are like, oh wow, man, you've just brought so much faith into my life. This is amazing. And it's like, guys, we need to start like improving education in schools, because if people are believing this, then my God, we've got some work to do. We have some work to do, ladies and gentlemen, because people actually believe this shit.
But this channel, as I said, has so many views. It's got so much attention to it, and it's making a lot of money probably from it. If you take a look at the Social Blade, it's clear it's getting good views. It's making good money, and that is just so unbelievable to me. I keep saying things like it's insane, it's unbelievable, but it is. It truly is dumbfounding. And the fact that this is an actual genre on YouTube, which people clearly believe in, they clearly think it's real, it's just mad. I know we like to clown on the mukbang true crime channels, but in comparison to this, they're really not that bad.
How are you doing on the other side, Davon? Are you with XXX Tentacion?
I don't want to sound, like, ironically enough, disrespectful, but they've put auto-tune over a person's voice to make it sound like the person that is in question in the video title, XXX Tentacion. Like, yeah, I get he used auto-tune in his songs, but this isn't making me convinced that this is him. This is making me convinced that you are badly doing an impression into a cheap microphone. It's just, my God, what is going on this website? This is such a deep, dark hole of just insane content that you can go so deep down this rabbit hole, you will just start to lose your mind.
And this is what you have to remember when it comes to things like true crime, because it is, in the last 2 years, as I showed you the stats earlier, one of the most popular genres on the internet of content, and people naturally are going to gravitate towards that because they know it's easy views and they know it's going to make money. And that's not a criticism of genuine, good faith true crime channels. It's a criticism of the people that are jumping on that trend, jumping at it to make money and not in an interest of actually getting valid information out there in a respectful manner. Because I genuinely do believe, as I keep saying, that there are some really good channels out there that do it respectfully and actually do a lot of good in this world by kind of showing the minds of the terrible people spoken about in these criminal videos. And it kind of helps us, I guess, in the future understand why people do the things that they do and kind of help prevent it further in a sort of way, maybe kind of. I'm just trying to be nice here, to be honest with you.
But until we start to really speak about these problems on YouTube with true crime, it's never really going to stop. It's never going to stop because whilst these channels will be called out and criticized, I really don't think that they care as long as they're still monetized and as long as they're making money. As I've said multiple times throughout this video, I don't think true crime should be taken down from YouTube, and I do participate in consuming the content, but ultimately there are some very exploitative channels out there who have sponsors, mid-rolls, and are making thousands of dollars a month. To come to some form of conclusion, yes, I think true crime on YouTube, for the most part, isn't exactly that bad, and there are some really good channels out there who do it respectfully and just in general in a nature which I can feel comfortable watching and consuming their content. But at the same time, I don't think we can just ignore the fact that there is like an epidemic on this website of god-awful, exploitative, terrible true crime content like this, and this. It's just everywhere. It's rife, and I really think we need to talk about it. I'm going to end this video by saying, please, for the love of God, can we stop this? And can we stop making these podcasts of where we're turning real horrific true crime incidents into spilling the tea? Oh yeah, let's speak about how this child was brutally murdered. It's like, guys, has YouTube and the algorithm made us just not human anymore? Because I genuinely think it has. But yes, that is the ending of this video. Thank you very much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please, for the love of God, like this video. I understand that there's probably going to be some extremely angry people out there, and I really don't know why. I feel like I was pretty fair and nice in this video. But yeah, also comment anything down below to start some discourse, some opinions. I would really like to have a little conversation with you guys down there. Please get this video to 30,000 likes, and please follow my social medias, all in the description. That is the end of the video. Thank you so much for coming along, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye everybody, peace out, and take it easy.